This control is very easy, it's very deceptive. What happens is the spectator selects a card and you cut the deck about half to let them place the card back on. In this case, it's the 10 of hearts. As you place the top half back on, you keep a little break with your little finger from the front. It's hard to tell. Actually, I just put it on, I kind of drop my hands off to the side, out of view, as if it doesn't matter at this point, and I'll talk for a second or two. Then I'll bring my hands back up, I'll transfer the break to my thumb, like this. Then I turn the card sideways and let all the cards below the break fall into my hand, in essence of doing a riffle shuffle. I'll shuffle the cards, making sure the last card, the selected card, falls last. Here's how it would look in normal speed. It's very simple. The card selected is the 5 of spades. It gets placed in the center. You put it on, keeping a break. You come up, transfer the break to your thumb, drop all the cards below the break into your left hand, shuffle them together. Of course, allowing the last card, the selected card, to fall last. Square up, and the card is on top. Face up, it looks like this. Very simple, but very deceptive. Okay, this is a control I learned from a Gene Huger book years ago. The card is selected and placed in the center. In this case, we'll work with the 3 of clubs. The top half gets placed on, maintaining a little finger break, just like that. Now what will happen is you'll turn your hand sideways, squeezing the cards, and you'll notice that because of the break, it'll push up the top half of the deck. As it does that, you'll grab that top half and shuffle them to the bottom. At this point, that leaves the card on top. It looks like this. The card is placed in the center, you go like this, and you shuffle those cards off, and it leaves the card on top. Now in slow motion, the card is selected, placed in the bottom half. You place the top half on, maintaining a break, like this, with your little finger. You turn and squeeze the cards. It pushes up the top half, and it effectively gives you a nice grip on the bottom half. Your right hand comes over and grabs that top half, and then overhand shuffles them to the bottom, just like that. So it's like this. And it looks like you just put the card in and kind of give it a few little shuffles, and you've controlled the card to the top, unbeknownst to the spectator. This next secret control looks like you dribble the cards and they say stop. Stop. You show them the card, and then it looks like you dribble the cards and throw it in there to kind of lose it. But unbeknownst to the spectator, you have full control of the card at all times, and it ends up on top. Let me show you how that works. You dribble the cards, you'll tell the spectator to tell you when to stop. They'll tell you stop. You show them the card. In this case, it's the Jack of Spades. Now, you'll start to dribble these to the table. When you get about halfway down, you'll pretend to throw the card into the pile. But what you really do is when it gets to the pile, you just pull it back to on top of the deck. What will happen is it'll end up hitting a card, and it'll look like it displaces the cards just enough that it looks like it threw it in. In that case, it kind of looks like it threw it in over there, and you can still lose it at that point. In slow motion, it'd be like this. boom, you'll dribble, and when they get about halfway down, you'll pretend to throw this in, but you really just go just like that. Sound effects are free. So you show the card, you dribble, you go like this. It looks like it actually looks like I threw it out of the pack. So at that point you'd say, oops, sorry, let's just bury it for sure. And lo and behold, it's on top, ready for you to finish your effect. It's great control. This next control takes a little bit more work, but the payoff is well worth it. What happens is the spectator selects a card. In this case, we'll have the 8 of spades. You ask them to place it back on top of the deck, like that. Now you come over like you're squaring the cards, and what you do is you push the bottom card in between your pinky and ring finger like this. You'll do that as a square up like that. Now at this point the card is technically in what we call Tenkai palm. Okay? What you do is you've pushed it over, you got it like this. You come up and grab all the cards besides the Tenkai card like this, and you'll bring this up as if you're taking the top card, and you'll really just take the Tenkai card and place it in the center, supposedly losing the selection, but in actuality the selection is never moved. Once again, the card is placed on top. You come over square and press it into Tenkai palm just like this. Then your hand reaches under and grabs all the cards except the Tenkai palmed card. You come up like you're taking the selection off the top of the deck and placing it in the center. But in actuality, like I said, the selection never moves. Very deceptive, very convincing. For this control, what it's going to appear like is the spectator selects a card, the card is placed in a lower half, and you out-jog the card to show them that it's near the center. As an afterthought, you'll explain that you'll want it to be a little lower to make it a little harder to find, and you'll push it down a little further and then square it in. In the process of doing all that, you control the card to the top of the deck. I'll show you how that works. You get a thumb break in the back of the bottom card of the deck. This is after they've picked a card. Okay? After they select their card, you have your break above the bottom card with your thumb. You swing cut half the cards into your hand and have the spectator place their card onto that half. We'll say it's the 10 of spades. Now instead of out-jogging it, you really just push the half of the deck forward like this, and at the same time letting go of that card and pull this back. It'll appear like you out-jogged the card and you're about halfway down. Now in reality, the selected card is underneath this card flush with the deck. Now as an afterthought, you'll say, let's put it down a little further, and you'll take your pointer finger and you'll push the cards back, and the selection will be the top card of this lower packet right here. You take about half of those cards out and put them on top. That places the selection on top. And then you square up, showing the card to be a little further down, then press it in, and voila, you've controlled the card to the top. I'll show you that move in normal speed. You'll have the selection placed right here. In this case, once again, it's the 10 of spades. You say, I'll push that out, and you drop like that. You say, as a matter of fact, let's push it a little further down. Just like that. Yeah, that makes it a little harder to find. And then voila, the card is on top, ready for you to finish the effect. This next control is very similar to the Tenkai Palm little switch control that we had earlier, except this time you'll actually still the selection like that. In this case, you'll riffle down the side and you'll ask the spectator to say stop. When they say stop, you literally cut right where they said, no forcing, anything like that, and you show the card like so. The spectator sees the card from the front, and as you come down, the fingers of this hand will push the card that they've just seen into Tenkai Palm like this. You square up the cards and slide your hand out just enough for the card to clear Tenkai Palm, and then you just place that card on top, effectively squaring the cards. It will look like this. Just like that, face up, stop. You show them the card. In this case, it's the King of Clubs. I'll place it face up. They've seen their card. Your fingers are naturally right lifting over the side, so when you arch it down, they will be right there to push the card into Tenkai Palm. Once you've squared up the cards, this card gets slid out just a little bit. Just pull the hand out, square it back on top, and there you go. This is the Tenkai side still from the front. You riffle down, they will say stop. You show the card. Your fingers will push that card out, see, just like that. You'll pull that out, square it up to the top, and the way it looks without seeing it is there's the Queen of Spades. It gets pushed into the side. You go like this, and voila, it's on top. Okay, this next control is kind of like a top card cover pass, except it's done backwards. The way it works is the spectator places their card in the center of the deck. You'll lift off about half the cards, have them place their selection, in this case the 9 of diamonds, on top of the bottom half. You'll place the top half on, maintaining a little finger break above the selection. Now you'll push the top half forward a little bit, like this. Your fingers, this finger of the left hand, will arch this half like this. This is in essence a reverse pass. Boom. Now you'll let all the cards from the right hand drop except the top one. And then you'll let those fall and square that up. The top card effectively covers any of the movements or actions and places the selected card second from the top. So it would look like this. The card is placed here. I've got a break. I lift and push forward. My fingers kick that half up. These drop into my hand minus the last card. Then this gets squared up with that. The top card gets squared up, and it looks like nothing happened because the spectator sees the top of the deck at all times. So you'll be like this. That's what it looks like at normal speed. It might take a little bit more practice, but once again, some of the greatest things in Magic do require some practice, and it actually, you'll love it, trust me. Okay, this next control is, in essence, happens when I spring the cards like this. What happens is this. The spectator selects a card. Voila. You spring about half the cards into your hand and ask the spectator to place the card there. In this case, we'll use the 5 of hearts. Now, you'll put these on top, maintaining a deep finger brake. Now this brake will only be there for a second because you'll come over, you'll square up the cards, and you'll get ready to do the spring pass like this. You readjust the fingers so that the 3 fingers are on the outer right side of the deck so that you could do this. You can kind of lift that up. Your hands over top covering all this. You take the bottom half with your right hand and arc it. At the same time lifting these cards like this. Now this is all done and nothing can be seen, as you can see. And then what you'll do is you'll lift this up as you start springing, letting the other half fall down in between the spring like this. It doesn't have to be perfect because once again it is a spring, so I mean if it looks a little sloppy, hey, most people can't spring the cards at all, so to a spectator it looks like bam, they place their card in, you go like this, you spring the cards, and it's right on top. Okay, this is a secret control that I learned in an Arthur Buckley book called Card Control. Technically what it is a way to maintain a break, therefore you can end the control with any of the methods that are described, you know, in the DVD. Here's what happens. You fan the cards out and the spectator hands you their card. In this case it's the 5 of hearts. You place it in the center and push it in and square up, and it looks like there's no way you could have a break. But as you can see, this huge break right here is right above the selected card. So you can lift up on that, get a break, and finish the control any way you'd like. I'll show you what I mean, the way it works. We've got a fan. When I place this card in it, and I push it flush, my thumb will push the cards above it back a little bit. You see how that leaves a big section here? So when I square these up, it'll of course leave them out-jogged or in-jogged a little bit like that. I can square up and lift up on those in-jogged cards and effectively finish the control with any of the methods that are taught, like I said, in the DVD. Watch one more time. The cards are fanned. You retrieve the selection from the spectator. You can actually have them tell you where you want it. You can say, I could go along here, you just tell me where you want it. And they could say right there. Because anywhere you put it, you'll put it in. You push it in and your thumb pushes those cards above it back like that. You square up. It leaves that big protruding break. You lift up on that, transferring the break to your pinky. And then at that point you can end the control any way you want. The way it looks to the spectator is that you spread through, they touch any card, say they touch this one, you out-jog it, you show it to them, in this case it's the 6 of diamonds, and then it looks like you pull the card out, place it into the center of this section, and then this section into the center of that section, effectively losing the card completely. In reality, that doesn't happen. Here's what really happens. You spread through and have the spectator select any card. We'll say they touch this card. When they touch it, you out-jog it for half its length, and then you push over about 2 or 3 other cards. That gives you an easy way to hold the card into the little batch of cards here. Now you're going to readjust your grip so that you can grip all these cards, like this, sort of like a right-hand mechanic's grip. You'll now show the card. In this case, we have the 6 of clubs. And you'll be kind of up like this. It won't be flat down so the spectators can see the backs of the cards. The spectators will just see the front of the card, like this. As you come up to take the card, your thumb will push the back card up with it. And you'll grab both cards, like that. Now the spectator will think you just grabbed their card and that it's right here, but really their card is the second card. You'll now fan these, place the supposed selection in the center, but really that's the indifferent card you pulled with the thumb. You push that in there, open this up, slide these into there, effectively keeping the selected card on top. Here's how it looks in normal speed. Please touch any card. This one right here, perfect. It is the 2 of spades. You'd show that to the spectator. You say, I'll take that. I'll place it into the center of the deck. And lo and behold, the card is still on top. Remember, as you go to pull the outjog card out, you'll push a card up with your thumb and pull both cards. And at that point, the rest is all child's play. This next secret control secretly controls the card to the bottom of the deck. You'll spread through the cards and ask a spectator to touch any card. When they do, you take it, the touched card, and the one on top of it and kind of place them side by side, like that, as you lift up and show them the card they touched. Now, a couple things happen at once here. As you come back down with the cards, your fingers of this hand will pull the selected card in. At the same time, your thumb will touch the card above it to keep it from pulling in. So it will look like this. And you'll push that non-selected card out. Now underneath the deck is the selection, and it rides all the way under to the bottom of the deck. And this gets pushed in, and the selection is on the bottom. Watch again. Right here is the card they touch. You want to kind of make the card above it even with it. You show it to them. Your thumb gets placed on the card they didn't touch. Your fingers pull this in, and your thumb pushes this other card out as you come down like this. Then this card rides under the deck. I'll show you from the back, and gets squared up to the bottom. Now it looks like the card is protruding. I usually say, how far down does it look? About 25, 26 cards? They'll say, yeah. I push it in, and at this point, the card is on the bottom. In normal speed, it's like this. That's your card? Okay, perfect. Remember it. About how far down is it? They'll say, you push it in, card is on the bottom. Here it is from the front. The 2 of diamonds will be the selection. My hand will come up. My thumb will place on the card above the 2. My fingers will pull the 2 in as my thumb pushes the non-selection out, and then the 2 will ride under the deck, and you'll square up, and the card is on the bottom ready for you to finish your effect. Here we go. A card is selected. In this case, it's the 2 of spades. The other cards are dribbled on top of it, and voila, it's right on top. The way that works, very simple. You'll riffle down until they say stop. You lift up half the cards, and you use your fingers to flip the card over like that to show it to them. Now, you want to place the selection kind of underneath the cards in the hand, As you start to turn it over, you just dribble the cards and it'll go right on top. Here that move is from the back. As you can see, you flip the card over, and then this card will go under those. And it'll lay on the palm of your hand for just a second as you supposedly flip it over. But in reality, as you start to flip over, you just dribble these cards. And that card will end up last, being on top. And voila, it's the top card. One more time from the front. The 8 of hearts, perfect. And then voila, there it is. Okay, this last secret control is one I use most often because it's the one that seems like nothing happens. A spectator selects a card, and then I spread about half the deck like this, fanned into my hand, and I have them place their card on top of the lower half. Now, as I square up, these 2 fingers will grab the bottom half as this squares up. Then they'll pull the bottom half back and kick them onto the top as I square up the cards, and you kind of tilt your hands a little bit like this. Just like that. So it's like, please place your card there, and then as you're coming back, kind of square up the cards. You just kind of switch them places, the packets. This hand comes in, squaring the cards up against the base of the thumb. These 2 fingers catch the bottom half, pull it straight back, just far enough to clear the packet, and then it slides it up and squares it up just like that. Here goes the queen. Watch. Voila. Very convincing.